السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الحبيب الكريم. ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم لك الحمد كما أنت أهله. وصل وسلم على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم كما أنت أهله. وافعل بنا كما أنت أهله فإنك أهل التقوى وأهل المغفرة. The points that will be mentioned tonight is actually the thoughts of a very great alim and saint of Islam. Hazrat Qari Muhammad Tayyib Sahib was the principal of Darul Uloom Deoband, and for many years he ran the madrasa in a very, very beautiful manner, tariqa. During one of those years he was invited to Egypt for a conference on Islam, and when Allah Ta'ala took him in those lands, then Allah Ta'ala had blessed these people with such knowledge that in this verse of Quran, وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ, where Allah Ta'ala took qasam, and the qasam of Allah is great. And when Allah takes a qasam, it means that there's something hidden in this, because of which, if someone is blessed with that insight, then he will see things in it which everyone else can't. So وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ means the qasam on what we know, the fig and the olive. And according to what Mufassirin will explain, is qasam on the land where these two things were very, very famous, meaning the land of Jerusalem, what we know as Masjid Aqsa. So Allah Ta'ala's first qasam, and a qasam of Allah is great, qasam on the land of Aqsa. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ. Allah Ta'ala's second qasam was qasam on Mount Tur. And Mount Tur at the present time, because the name is Tur, and in this world we don't know where Mount Tur is, so it has no real effect in our lives. For this reason, Hazrat Qari Sahib in detail explained where Mount Tur is situated. And finally, when he brings the discussion to an end, he comes that Mount Tur is the mount which Nabi Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, his entire mission, it started from there, it ended there. Mount Tur will be the place just after which the lands of Sham will begin, which is known as Watini was Zaytun. Watini was Zaytun means the land of Aqsa, what we know as Palestine nowadays, Palestine. And we all know around Palestine there is called the land of Sham. And Sham in the past would be Jordan, what is nowadays known as Syria, Lebanon, which lands Allah Ta'ala called the blessed lands. So that is Sham, and Allah Ta'ala's first qasam was for that land. The second qasam of Allah was the land of Waturi Sinin, Mount Tur. Mount Tur is on the edge of what is known as Egypt, bringing the entire Egypt into the second qasam of Allah Ta'ala. But the area where Mount Tur is situated is what we nowadays call Gaza. And this place where Masjid al-Aqsa at the present time in the Muslim world has a very beautiful spot, and it is always mentioned in the media what is happening there. Then the second place is Gaza. And Allah Ta'ala's qasam that put your eyes on this place. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ. The third qasam of Allah is وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. And a great qasam on this most Mubarak land, the land of Makkah Mukarramah. On three lands Allah Ta'ala took qasam, and there had to be something hidden in that qasam. And the rest of the surah is لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ. Where Allah Ta'ala sends, because of these three places, they had a very great role in the tarbiyat of mankind, in the nurturing, because of which some people were able to rise to the levels of Jannah and some people went to the pits of hell. So with this in mind, he looked at these three places to find what is in these three spots. That Allah Ta'ala took such a huge qasam and he based the tarbiyat of mankind on these three areas. So at the beginning his mind went at, look at it, that in the land of Makkah Mukarramah came Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And from him the whole religion of Islam went and where it went. And from the land of Egypt was Nabi Musa alayhi salatu wassalam and his religion where it went in the world. And from the land of Sham was the Masjid al-Aqsa, the place of Nabi Isa alayhi salatu wassalam and his religion where it went. Three qasams on three places, because of which three religions came up in the world. So what a unique place it had in the world. But thereafter he began pondering more and more, and when he returns now back home, after his journey he starts writing that what secrets Allah had opened up to him in these three lands, and the details of the secrets, how much time we have, we will try and explain. Once I start getting tired, then we will leave it on that. But what and what Allah must have opened up for him, it took him 10 years to pen down these thoughts that were going about these three lands in his mind. At the beginning of the book he writes that in this book you will find that at certain places I am writing that in this land I fear this will happen, and in this land I fear that will happen. He says, and you will wonder when you're reading the book that those things have already happened. So he says, understand, it has taken me 10 years to write it. When I started writing it, it did not happen yet. So I wrote it, I fear this will happen. When I ended the book, those things had already taken place. When he was passing away, his wasiyah to his son was that this one book must go out in the ummah. Muqamat muqaddasa. That the muqaddas places in Islam and their maqam, the things that they will do for the Muslim world. And very, very deep he wrote in this book. What I will give now is a gist of what he has written. The proofs which he mentioned I will leave out. Those that wish to refer can go back to the kitab. And in detail he has gone through everything. This will be a summary of whatever the explanation he gave. It is something that we have never heard about, so it will be difficult to digest, difficult to explain, difficult to understand. But I can guarantee you, after reading the first part of this book, Allah Ta'ala blessed me with a journey to Makkah Mukarramah for Umrah. And that Umrah was a different Umrah from the ones that were made before. Because when secrets of a land are opened up to a person, then he sees things which other people around him don't see. So much if you can get a certain amount of these secrets, then I can guarantee you your salah will change. Namaz. Your looking at the land of Makkah Mukarramah will change. Your tawaf, if you ever go for Hajj or Umrah, will change. Your looking at the house of Allah will change. And if the bayan allows itself and we'll go on to Medina Munawwara, then every time you will say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it will change. And when you will look at Masjid al-Aqsa, it will change the way you look at it. And when you will look at Gaza, you will understand what is in the land of Gaza. So to start, Hazrat Qari said, explained that everyone knows this year, that at one time there was nothing in the world but water. Allah Ta'ala, when He desired that the world should come into existence, first it was nothing but water. And from the entire water a certain spot was chosen, from which the entire land is going to be spread out. And this is something that many of us have heard about when we were young. This was the land which is known as the first land to come about in the world. This is the land of Makkah Mukarramah, or the spot of the Kaaba. Kaaba means from Ki'ab. This part of the leg, the ankle, how it protrudes out. This is called Ki'ab, something that pops out. Because when everything was flat water, then one spot popped out. And on that spot was known as the spot that, what you will say, bubbled out. The one that came above the rest. On that spot, what was happening? Allah Ta'ala, because He desired from that spot everything to spread out in the world. So Allah Ta'ala started what we will call in this bayan a waterfall, a shower. And anyone knows when you put on the tap and water starts falling, then whatever is in the tap, that will fall to the bottom. And when it falls, with a force if it falls, it will splash out also in different directions. Because this was going to be the area for the world. Allah Ta'ala's first waterfall. And in Islamic terminology, the word waterfall is called tajalli. Tajalli means where Allah Ta'ala starts pouring something. The first tajalli pour that was going to take place in the world, and which was going to continue for years and years before the Kaaba was going to start now spreading to the rest of the lands. And which was going to continue till the end of time, was a tajalli of what we will call wujud, existence. Because from this waterfall, Allah Pak was going to give everything its existence. So life was being sent in this waterfall. Speech was being sent. Complexion was being sent. Courage was being sent. Manners were being sent. And everything was raining on this, whatever creation, man, animal, jinn will need for their existence, was falling on one spot. And after years and years, which is mentioned, as the tajalli was falling, it had such a beautiful attraction that the angels would make tawaf around it. And for years and years they would look at it and make subhanallah, subhanallah, the beauty of Allah. A connection between the creator and creation. As it was falling, the beauty of that. But there was no one in the world at that time to appreciate it. Was the angels. Tawaf around that area in the skies. As far as it was going from the 7 heavens to the bottom of the 7 earths, that waterfall was falling and everything man needed for existence fell. And thereafter when it spread out in the world, then whatever amount was in that sand, as it began spreading, different amounts went in different directions of the world. And thereafter when the angels were told for every single person to choose his sand for his existence, then our sand was not chosen from the Kaaba itself, it was chosen from our spot of land, wherever we were created from. As that sand was chosen, whatever had reached that sand, coming from the area of Makkah Mukarramah, that became us. If bravery had reached that area, we will become very brave people. In the sand of Khalid bin Walid, you will understand bravery hit its height. So you got a man who could face an army. In Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, beauty came. Sulaiman alayhi salam, might came. In every person, something came which made him better than the other. One person will be very unique in beauty, very beautiful. You will look at that person, you will say, he is so handsome. I am sure his sister must be just as beautiful. But when you go, you find out, something else happens. It is not that she's from a different father and mother. But because her sand, his sand never hits. One person is eloquent on tongue. Another person cannot speak so well. So he explained, as it spread out in the world, whatever was your share, that's what you got. And now as you start making effort on it, that's what you become after that. But everyone got his share of Allah's tajalli. That was one tajalli. And that itself explains so many secrets in the world that we find around. After that tajalli, which was going to be like a small tajalli, but which was the basis of man's physical existence, and which will continue till the day of Qiyamah, carries on falling on the spot of the Kaaba, carries on spreading out to wherever its sand has gone. And whoever is created according to what reached. But after that tajalli, because Allah had created man to worship Allah, as a slave of Allah, die hard for Allah, lover of Allah. So man falls in love with something that he can see, something beautiful, something out of the limits, overordinary, extraordinary, which he says, I am amazed at your beauty. For Allah Ta'ala, however, to come in this world and show His beauty, that was against the demands of the beauty of Allah. For this is a world of dirt. And Allah Ta'ala's beauty will never come in this world in the Zat of Allah. But Allah wanted to show His beauty to the world. So Allah started a tajalli which is called a tajalli of beauty. The waterfall of Allah's beauty started pouring onto the Kaaba. And we will understand it in this manner, that many a person asks, why do I make sajda towards the Kaabatullah? If I am making namaz towards Allah, why must it be the Kaaba that is the house of Allah? Why can't I perform some other direction? Allah is everywhere. But Allah Ta'ala chose one spot which is going to capture His beauty more than the rest of the world. And as that spot started coming, and years from the beginning till the end of creation, ask any person the first sight of the Baytullah, what you have seen. It was a black house. But he will say, I saw amazing beauty on the place. You will ask, was it the curtain? That was so beautiful, because that same curtain I got in my house. But you will look at that man's curtain and you will find no beauty. When man looks at the Kaaba, what makes the tears start coming out of his eyes? There is a certain beauty falling on that place which, if Allah opens the eyes of the heart, you will see it even more unique. But even the eyes of normal people like us, we find some attraction in that. That when someone is leaving the last day of Makkah Mukarramah, he'll walk, he'll turn around and look again. Then he'll walk, then he'll look again. Then he'll think, give me half an hour more, I want to wait here the last night. And what is he looking at? Is he looking at the crowds? Is he looking at beautiful, the masjid? He is looking at one house and he doesn't know what is it that he is looking at. But it is something that is falling on that area so strong. Hazrat Qari Sahib then said that that beauty that fell now started splashing. As a waterfall will splash, it began splashing. As it began splashing, the area around it became known as the Haram. Because of which we understand that the animals of that area, they are sanctified. They are muhtaram, you cannot hunt them. That land is such, you entering here, you enter with your ihram. You are coming here, you immediately start saying, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, oh Allah, permission to enter. And as it splashed further out, then you have what we call miqat created in the world. That far you coming, and they tell you that now you are reaching the miqat, people coming from outside, put your ihram on now. The demands of this beauty was such. Beauty has its demands. Demand of beauty, if there's a girl who's going to get married, she will make sure she looks the most beautiful from all her sisters. It will be very stupid on that day she is looking ugly and everyone is looking smart. So even if a dress is being made for all the sisters, hers will be the most unique. The demand of beauty is one must stand out. Look at the demand of the tajalli of Allah's beauty. As it fell on Makkah Mukarramah, Allah made the land around Makkah Mukarramah become desert. That beauty was completely removed from it. That whoever will come there will find nothing but one thing that is beautiful. Mountains were put up. Where other lands were made so beautiful, but Allah made the land around His house going to be an ugly land. Which Hazrat Qari Sahib says Allah made it like a cave. That when someone goes in a cave, there is only one thing to ponder about. The land around it was going to make mountains, no water, desert, no scenery. In present times, no matter what beautiful hotels come up in Makkah Mukarramah, ask anyone who goes often for Hajj and Umrah. He will tell you in Medina Munawwara 5-star means 5-star. But in Makkah Mukarramah 5-star means 3-star. Because even that beautiful hotel visited after 2 years, 3 years, you see that thing is gone. There is a demand of the beauty of the Kaaba that everything else just loses its color around it. That man, when he'll come there, you can put up what shops around the Haram. And everyone says these shops around the Haram are pulling the crowd. But when you go into the Haram, you think the crowds are in the market. When you go in the Haram, you won't find one time that it's quiet now to make the tawaf. Where and where those crowds are coming. And the demand of beauty is, if you have a very beautiful gem, a beautiful girl, then you will not give her to everyone. And tell any boy who wants to marry her, come and take her. You will make the journey hard. There will be an exam before the journey. It will be expensive, difficult. Allah Ta'ala's demand of beauty was such that the journey to His house, no matter what modern technology will try to do, will always be difficult. You will suffer to go to that place. Whether it's the customs who will hassle you, whether it's the people at the airport who will take their time, whether it's the long queues, you will get in the bus, the long journey, the heat, the difficulties, because Allah wants to test you are coming for someone beloved. What's your talab, desire for me? The demand of beauty. Now when someone looks and he understands what beauty is falling and what strength of beauty and how it is hitting. And as now when someone is making tawaf of the Baytullah, as the beauty hits, then that beauty is going into his heart. Whether he understands it or not, why is it after every Hajj our love for Allah is increasing more? The beauty of Allah becomes open to the heart, although we don't realize it. As he's making tawaf, something is settling in, that beauty is hitting. It is making Allah ma'ashuq, the beloved. It is making the man around ashik, a lover. As he looks at the Baytullah, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, daily Allah's certain special mercies fall on the house of Allah. Those that are making tawaf of it, it falls on them like a waterfall. And he said, those that are just looking at it, it hits them also. And he says, those that are performing salah towards it, it hits them also. Everyone moving in that area, they are getting washed. And they are coming on a different level which they weren't before they reached that land. The demands of beauty. But then Allah Ta'ala in His love wanted that His beauty must go to the rest of the world. Because it is not every single person who can make the journey every single day. So Allah Ta'ala made it that that man who is going to make tawaf of the Baytullah, the man who is going to look at the Baytullah, the man who is going to be reading salah to the Baytullah, he is one day going to return home. When he returns home, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, a man came from Hajj Umrah, go and meet him. Go and shake his hand, hug him. When that hug takes place, that handshake takes place, what is in his heart starts transferring into this person's heart. That tajalli is now past. Next to the house of Allah is the well of Zamzam. As that beauty falls, it falls onto the water of Zamzam. When that person comes back, he will not bring you any Pepsi from that land. He will give you a glass of Zamzam. You will take that, and every person, which Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, enjoying the water of Zamzam is a sign of Iman. As you drink that Zamzam, that beauty goes through the person's heart. But Allah Ta'ala wanted to open it up even further. That there are so many people who will not get the chance to meet every person coming from Hajj or Umrah. So Allah Ta'ala made one more unique ability to draw from the lands of beauty. To be able for the heart to see Allah's beauty wherever you are in the world. And as it sees that beauty to increase. And that is what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's entire mi'raj was about. Where if you want your heart to make one mi'raj, Allah Ta'ala said, how we all understand, example, there's a radio station. Wherever it might be, in Joburg, in Durban, and the houses around that radio station, if they put on their radio, and they're on the right frequency, they will get the best reception because they are right next to it. And sometimes even if the radio is not on, but from the windows they might be hearing loud sounds coming from, because the station is right next door. But there are certain times like nowadays where we know someone's house can be right next to the station. But because his radio is not on, he gets nothing. But there is someone very far away, but he knows the exact number with which to switch on. And as he puts his radio and there is no interference, then from that station, a connection is made right till his radio and there is no It is clear 100%. Allah Ta'ala wanted that beauty falling on the Kaaba to be able to spread in the world in this exact manner. So Allah Ta'ala made something called Allahu Akbar Salah. And when man says Allahu Akbar, where is he facing? He faces directly to the house of Allah. Wherever he is in the world. And depending on how his connection is, so much of beauty will start coming. If he has it on the right signal, he will get so much which other people around the house of Allah will not be getting. But if his Allahu Akbar is the Allahu Akbar of the radio on the wrong channel, then his namaz will come to an end. As-salamu alaykum, very little will come from that. If a person wants to experience it now, when you say Allahu Akbar, think of the Kaaba in front of you. And think of beauty falling on. And think of a connection between my heart and the house of Allah. And say, oh Allah, the beauty that is falling on your house, and it is entering my heart, how is it that my love for you is not increasing? And I can guarantee you, after every salah, you will find a different feeling. And imagine if you now go for Hajj or Umrah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then explained, as I explained, the tajalli is so strong, that had it fallen on a mortal like me or you, we would have all been destroyed. So Allah Ta'ala to hold the tajalli, one way the house of Allah was going to be made, but it was going to be made of normal rock, brick of this world. So Allah Ta'ala had two stones sent down from Jannah. One was known as the Hajar Aswad, one was known as the Rukn Yamani. Two stones of Jannah, because Jannah stones have the ability to hold Allah Ta'ala's special power, which man doesn't have. The Hajar Aswad was put on one side, the Rukn Yamani was put on the other. Hazrat Qari Sahib says, when this beauty falls onto the house of Allah, which is extremely powerful, then the two stones which pull in the entire force is these two stones. Everything goes within them, and from them they spread throughout the house of Allah, the Kaaba. Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam explained to his ummah, if you ever want to put your hand on the hand of Allah, then put your hand on the Hajar Aswad. Hazrat Qari Sahib says, because that is the closest connection the entire world will get with Allah Ta'ala. Where the connection is falling, it is hitting that place. That is why it was mentioned, if you can't touch it, then when a person gets remote control, then you see him bringing his car to his garage, he points it at the right place, he presses the button, the garage opens. As long as it's pointing to the right place, it will cause something to happen. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, if you can't touch the Hajar Aswad, put your hands like this. At that time, after you putting your hands, then you will kiss it, and now you start your tawaf. After your first tawaf, again come and make your connection to your second tawaf, third tawaf. He said, when you're passing the Rukn Yamani, if you can, put your hands on the Rukn Yamani. The love of going near the Rukn Hajar Aswad now will be increased, because man will understand the strongest connection between my Khaliq and who is makhluk, Allah Ta'ala has created it. So that was the first tajalli. And in that tajalli, he explained the land of Makkah Mukarramah. That from the beginning till the ending, Allah Ta'ala has reserved it as a land of ibadah. The rest of the world will become beautified with different things. But when man goes to Makkah Mukarramah, no matter what people will say, when he goes, he will definitely make some ibadat of Allah. The attraction in Makkah Mukarramah is no attraction of Dubai. It is an attraction where man goes and he finds something, and he can't understand what again. He's spending 70,000, he goes again. Then he explains a second tajalli then had to start. Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, 40 years after Makkah Mukarramah, Allah Ta'ala had Masjid Aqsa established. The masjid itself was built years later. So the establishment of Masjid Aqsa means that the spot of Masjid Aqsa was now chosen. 40 years of tajalli Makkah Mukarramah enjoyed. At that time there was no creation. After 40 years, Allah Pak now started another waterfall. The waterfall began now on what is now known as Masjid Aqsa. A second waterfall. But in this waterfall, where that was a waterfall of beauty, and the demands of beauty were going to be found around there, a demand of becoming the lover of Allah, mad in Allah's ibadah, nothing else in your mind. Where Allah Ta'ala wanted him to be worshipped. Allah Ta'ala wanted his deen to be ghalib in the world also. Where Allah wanted people to be making sajda for him, Allah wanted the world in their wealth also, in their lives also, in their businesses also to be obedient to Allah. And the only way for that day is that the ruler must be Islamic rule. So Allah Ta'ala's qualities of what we will say sovereignty, power, might, honor. I am the king. Where there it was, I am the most beautiful. The quality of Jameel, beauty was falling on Makkah Mukarramah, where everyone was seeing Allah's beauty. Here he says the quality of Jalal, the power of Allah now began falling on Masjid al-Aqsa. The king. And because of that day, Allah Ta'ala made Masjid al-Aqsa such. Whenever a person wants to go to the house of a king, the palace of a king, long before you reach his palace, the first thing you will find is the land around the palace is a very beautiful land. It is lush. You are walking through gardens. There are waterfalls. So when Allah Ta'ala wanted to establish now His palace, to show I am the king, where there a cave was established for His worship, here a palace was being established. So to make Himself the king, which Quran mentions, الَّذِي بَارَكْنَا حَوْلَهُ. As that tajalli of power was falling, the land around Masjid al-Aqsa, which is known as the land of Sham, became a land which Quran mentioned a land full of barakat. It became the most fertile place you could ever find in life. The most lush, the most green. The barakat of the land of Sham is famous. Sahaba radiallahu anh, when they saw it, they were amazed. Khalid radiallahu anh said to them that we have come from deserts. If there was nothing but the beauty of the land to fight for, then also it demands we must fight for this land. Have you ever seen something like this? So beautiful. Extremely beautiful. Nowadays, because of so much war, and we only speak of one small land, many of us don't understand the beauty of those lands. But every now and then you will see Israel has exported this, exported that, from this farm, this farm, this farm. Watini was Zaytun. This is a land of barakat. Because tajalli of power was falling on Aqsa, the land around it became a land of a palace. Very beautiful. And the land of Aqsa became such, which at the present moment the entire world is fighting for what? To be able to take over Masjid al-Aqsa. So he explains that Masjid al-Aqsa, not only in our time, but from the beginning throughout history, it has been found that Masjid al-Aqsa has some secret in it. That whoever is in control of Masjid al-Aqsa is able to control the world. Whoever is in control of Masjid al-Aqsa is in control of the entire world. He starts right from the beginning and he gives different examples. And then he comes to the time when the world was divided between the Roman Empire, the Persian Empire. The Roman Empire, they had taken over many lands. One of the lands they had taken over is what we nowadays call Turkey, Constantinople. And in Constantinople, a very huge fort was built. So strong that fort was, that when the entire Roman army was defeated in the time of Umar radiallahu anh, but the fort was only defeated about 800 years after that. It was very, very mighty. 7 times Muslims tried to conquer it, they couldn't manage. But when Caesar, who was in charge, and the Roman leaders before him, Hercules was one, all the Caesars, when they desired to choose a place from which we can rule the world, they moved the capital to where is what is called Masjid al-Aqsa. In Masjid al-Aqsa they found some power with which they could rule the world, which they were not finding there in Turkey. Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam, long before that, where Allah Ta'ala was going to give someone extreme power over the whole world. Mulkan la yanbaghi li ahadin min ba'di. Oh Allah, I want such power which no one after me will get. So Dawood alayhi salam, his father was already shown the spot. That in you and your son are going to now become kings which are going to have a huge empire. But to be a king of the world, you need that place with which you can rule the world. Dawood alayhi salam also went for Hajj, Sulaiman alayhi salam also went for Hajj. But Allah Ta'ala did not tell them that now settle in Makkah Mukarramah and build your palace. Because the land of Makkah Mukarramah was never the land of a king. When Sulaiman alayhi salam, Dawood alayhi salam's time came, then Dawood alayhi salam was first inspired with the spot. But thereafter it was told to Dawood alayhi salam, because blood is on your hands, because certain people, wars have been fought and you have killed, so I desire that my palace, that person must make whose hand is free from blood. And because of which Sulaiman alayhi salam was given the job. He established, he was the person where Ibrahim alayhi salam was shown where the Kaaba is. Sulaiman alayhi salam was now shown where Masjid al-Aqsa is. And as he built his palace and his seat of honor and power, then he understood that Allah Ta'ala has given me now power over the whole world. Whoever ruled after that always tried to get Masjid al-Aqsa. As Masjid al-Aqsa was taken, it means we got power over the world. When it went to the enemy, it was their power. When it came to the Muslims, it was their power. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when now Sahaba radiallahu anhu started spreading, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Al-Khilafa bil-Madina, that as long as there will be the Khulafa Rashidin, it will remain in Medina Munawwara. Wal-Mulku bil-Sham, but when my ummah will come onto power, then first everything will go to the lands of Sham. And then he himself explained that I saw from my forehead, pillars were coming out. And they went and they settled in the lands of Sham. The masjid is built on pillars. Someone says, what is pillar? You say, support. He saw support for the entire ummah to be running will come from the lands of Sham. Sahaba radiallahu anhu went in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah radiallahu anhu was made in charge of the entire army. The entire army spread out far and wide. But Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah was told, you remain in the land of Sham. Because the land of Sham has the ability to rule everywhere else. Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, when he established his rule, he went to the land of Sham. Ali radiallahu anhu decided to choose Medina Munawwara. After a while he realized Medina can't manage as the land of rule. Thereafter he went to Iraq, he found Iraq can't manage. Muawiyah radiallahu anhu finally became the Khalifa whose power then spread throughout the world. And everyone accepted him as the Grand Khalifa. He chose the land of Sham. At the present time today, the fight which they are saying they want the masjid and the building of the masjid, their old temple, their entire fight that is taking place is for one thing, the seat of power. And whoever will manage to control that seat will be in charge of the entire world. Why is it such? Because Allah has made it such. Whoever's armies will move from there will be the best armies in the world. Whoever will rule from there will have the best mind in the world as a leader. He will make the best decisions in the world. Sahaba radiallahu anhu were going in jihad. They asked, where are the armies coming from? Someone said they're coming from Egypt. He said, let the Egyptians stay where they are. The soldiers of the land of Sham, they are the ones who must attack. Because the land of Sham is that land which has barakat in it, power. So he explained that tajalli. The tajalli which he explained is the tajalli which fell then on Mount Tur. Mount Tur, as I mentioned, is Gaza. Nabi Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, we all know that when he ran away from Fir'aun at a very young age, then he went away and he met Nabi Shuaib alayhi salam. He remained many years with him. After that, on his return, now his desire was to return back home. On his return, it was very cold at night, he lost his way. He said to his wife, that I see a fire in the distance. Let me go to that fire, I will bring some fire for you and in the morning we will carry on. Which Allah Ta'ala speaks about very beautifully in the Quran. That when finally Nabi Musa alayhi salam now came to that place, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam from all the Anbiya alayhi salam was blessed with one quality. Where every Nabi received revelation, wahi through Jibreel alayhi salam, Nabi Musa alayhi salam, Allah's kalam fell on him directly. Meaning there was no intermediary of Jibreel alayhi salam at many times, which is going to be called tajalli of Allah's speech. Where there it was tajalli of beauty, from the beginning till the end of time. And here it was tajalli of power, from the beginning till the end of time. But this tajalli of speech which fell for a very short period of time. But now Qari Tayyib Sahib will explain what an effect it had on the lands of Egypt. Tajalli of kalam, speech, and the speech of Allah, what speech is it? And for Musa alayhi salam's body to accept it, it was itself impossible, his body would have burnt. So Allah Pak chose a certain tree, which is called Ash-Shajarat, the tree which is most Mubarak, Ash-Shajaratul Mubarakah. And most likely that tree nowadays doesn't exist anymore. But on that tree, Allah's tajalli of kalam fell, and like a fire was created by the tree. And when Musa alayhi salam came to the fire, then from the fire words were coming out. And Musa alayhi salam heard the speech of Allah without anyone in between. Inni an Allah, I am Allah. And Musa alayhi salam was amazed. And Allah said, don't be scared. And Allah asked, what is in your hands, O Musa? And Musa alayhi salam enjoyed. how he enjoyed the speech of Allah and what things he spoke to Allah. Allah Ta'ala said, "Oh Musa, what is in your hand?" Nabi Musa alayhi salam said, "It is my stick. And with the stick I hit the leaves of the tree, it falls down. And with the stick I look after my sheep. And with the stick I defend myself. And in the stick are different benefits." He was enjoying the time to speak to Allah because what a thing it is. Many years ago when I was still studying, one alim came to the madrasa and very beautifully explained. He said a certain person had a dream. In the dream he saw that Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Nabi Musa alayhi salam were having a discussion. And Nabi Musa alayhi salam asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that why has it been mentioned that your ummah, the people of your ummah, are similar to the Anbiya of the Bani Israel? Meaning, how could you give them such a high level? That there was an Anbiya and yours is a normal man. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the dream said to Musa alayhi salam that this is my entire ummah in front of you. From them you choose any person you want and you ask him some questions. And the answer he will give you will show you why they have come up to where they have come. So in the dream he sees that one person is called out who later on or at that time already had passed away, I'm not sure, who is nowadays in the world known as Imam Ghazali. So at that time he pointed to him and this person who we know as Imam Ghazali walks forward. And Musa alayhi salatu wasalam speaks to him, wants to know why are you people like the prophets of the Anbiya, of the Bani Israel. So he asks Imam Ghazali in the dream that what's your name? So Imam Ghazali starts, my name is Muhammad, the son of so-and-so, the son of so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. And he starts giving his lineage, carrying on, right up to Nabi Adam alayhi salam. And how long it took. But Nabi Musa alayhi salam was a Nabi of Jalal, also anger. So we will say, Subhanallah, what a long name. He got angry in the dream. And he said, I only asked you your name. So he says, oh Musa, when Allah asked you what is in your hand, you gave a long story. Because you were enjoying speaking with Allah. I got the chance to speak to a Nabi, I mustn't enjoy myself. So he woke up on that to show the ulum which Allah had given the people of this. But what Qarisa was explaining is the beauty that was falling now was the beauty of speech. Musa alayhi salam after that went to Fir'aun and the whole incident of Fir'aun happened and Fir'aun was destroyed. And as they are returning back again, this was the final spot where Musa alayhi salam's entire mission ended again. Because it was at this spot now where the Bani Israel were told, now you just have to cross the borders. You will now leave Egypt. We all understand Gaza to be in Palestine or Sham, because always it's spoken about with those two countries. But the Muqaddas land is the land of Sham, Gaza is just out of it, on the border. So when they finally reached there, the Bani Israel were told, all you'll have to do is now cross over into Sham. But they said, the Amalika, very strong people are there, we'll never go. Musa alayhi salam said, Allah has promised you victory. They said, oh Musa, you and your Allah go and fight. When they are all destroyed, you can come and call us. They never went. Because of which Allah then made them stay in that valley, which became known as the valley of tea. As they carried on, they would carry on moving in that valley. And Nabi Musa alayhi salam finally passed away. But before this whole entire thing happened, the Bani Israel told Musa alayhi salam that can't we get some divine instruction from Allah what to do, a book. So Musa alayhi salam again asked Allah for a chance. That, oh Allah, my people want a book, and again he was called back again to the same place where Allah's speech one time had occurred, Mount Tur. Again he was called to Mount Tur. And again that tajalli of Allah's speech carried on with Musa alayhi salam for 40 years, for 40 days. How much beauty came in that time, it now stopped. But Hazrat Qari Sahib says, look at the effect of that beauty. That as that beauty spread in the lands of Egypt, in the past this was found and until today it found, that whichever man comes from Egypt, there are many of them that their tongue is much more beautiful than the rest of the world's tongues. When you speak of Qiraat and you say a Misri Qari is coming, everyone will come to listen. We haven't heard much about an Iraqi Qari coming to come read. Or a Qari from England, America. But when you speak of a person from Egypt, and then the beauty of his tongue, then Hazrat Qari Sahib made a ishara that look at the beauty of that tajalli of kalam that fell, that it has affected the people until today, that when they read, the reading is beautiful. And he said not only that, if anyone understands Arabic literature, And although Arabic is the land of Makkah, Mukarramah, Medina, Munawwara, but the literature of the land of Egypt has always been of a different class. The way they talk, the way they express themselves has always been most unique. What tajalli? But that tajalli wasn't the main part. While Nabi Musa alayhi salam was now there enjoying Allah Ta'ala's discussion, and enjoying the beauty of speech falling, a thought came in his mind. And he asked, "Oh Allah," and love, the demand of love. قَالَ رَبِّ أَرِنِي أَنظُرْ إِلَيْكَ. That he said, "Oh Allah, why don't you show yourself to me, so that I may see you with my eyes." But because it was a request which was not suited for this world, which is a world of filth, so the request which was from Musa alayhi salam's side was a very beautiful, innocent request. But from the side of Allah Ta'ala, whose Zat demands respect and adab, it was a request which was, how dare you ask anything like this? قَالَ لَن تَرَانِي. So when Allah gave the answer, it never came in a beautiful manner. It came with a very forceful manner. Which Hazrat Qari Sahib, then he brought certain narrations which are taken from the books of the Jews and the Christians, known as Israeli riwayat. And which he explained that in this matter can be used because it shows the same meaning of what Quran explains. That at that time, what happened? When Musa alayhi salam was asked, "Oh Allah, I want to see you." So he said, as soon as he asked that, the entire skies became dark. And lightning started. Because Allah's anger now started coming. And thereafter angels were sent and they surrounded the mountain from all sides. As though they were guarding the mountain, no one must come near the mountain, no one must run away from the mountain. And thereafter the first heaven just opened up. And when Allah wants to show His beauty, it's beautiful. When Allah wants to show His might and anger, that is something else. So when that heaven opened up, angels started coming from the first heaven, but in the forms of extremely monstrous looking, whatever you will call, very, very evil looking demons moving towards Musa alayhi salam. And as the leader was coming and Musa alayhi salam saw the sight, he pulled back and he said, "Oh Allah, I ask forgiveness. Stop." And the leader of that animals, as they coming, they said, "Oh son of Imran." Musa alayhi salam was the son of Imran. They said, "Oh son of Imran, what are you saying? Stop. You have asked to see very great things. We are small things. There's a lot more to see." And Musa alayhi salam then saw the second sky opening, and what came? Third sky, fourth sky, and every time he's saying, "Stop, stop." All amount of the tajalli of the arsh, the throne of Allah. It was told, drop. Not drop on Musa alayhi salam, because Musa alayhi salam would have been then destroyed. But drop on that spot near where he is standing, which Allah said, "Look at that mountain. I will show you who I am. If the mountain can hold my power, then you will see me." So it was not the beauty of Allah that fell, it was the arsh of Allah Ta'ala that made one spark of its power and might. The throne of Allah. And a small amount which Ka'b Ahbar explains. And as it hit, which Quran says, فَلَمَّا تَجَلَّى رَبُّهُ لِلْجَبَلِ. And when Allah put His tajalli on the mountain, جَعَلَهُ دَكَّا. It just broke into pieces. وَخَرَّ مُوسَى صَعِقًا. Nabi Musa alayhi salam fell down unconscious. Certain narrations have shown his soul actually came out. Angels were told to hold his body to manage. And after the entire thing happened, then the soul was returned. As the soul was returned, the first word Musa alayhi salam said, "Subhanak, O Allah, you are pure." Meaning, I will never ever ask to do such a thing again. If you are pure, how can your beauty be ever asked to be shown in this world, your own Zat? Tawbatu ilayka, O Allah, I have made tawbah. I submit, O Allah, never again. When I look at the kamal of Hazrat Qari Sahib's mind, that the entire incident is in front of us, but if I have to ask you what tajalli was falling at that time, the most we will say is a tajalli, a waterfall of the anger of Allah. But with what mind he looked at it? He said the tajalli that fell on Makkah Mukarramah, the house of Allah, was Jamal, beauty. And the tajalli on Aqsa was Jalal, power. The tajalli that fell on the land of Tur, Gaza, was a tajalli of defense. What is known as dafa. Because Musa alayhi salam wished to come close to Allah. The angels were sent to push him away. That don't ever think of walking towards this route ever again in your life.
This is something that you can't ask for in this world. Don't come near here. The angels were not told to attack him. They were all told to push him away. Move, move. Which he says one quality of Allah is ad-dafi' al-mani'. That zat which pushes away. A tajalli of defense. And he says how amazing it has been that throughout history, whoever will read the books of war will understand that whichever people were born in this area around Mount Tur, they were always the most severest in defending their land. And then he explains in the time of, he gives different examples. One easy example for us to understand. The two kitabs are famous in the English language, Futuh al-Sham and Futuh al-Misr. The conquest of what is known as Sham and the conquest of Egypt. Any person who reads the conquest of Sham, he will read it and how the Sahaba spread and how they destroyed the Roman Empire, which was a mighty empire. But when you look how many Sahaba radiallahu anhum passed away, you won't find much. But when they went to the land of Egypt, which was not a mighty superpower of the world, but when you will read that waqiyat in that book, you will see how many Sahaba, great Sahaba gave their lives until finally that land gave up. He says the people of that land throughout history, whenever the Muslims needed attacking armies, the army would be sent from the land of Sham. But whenever the enemy would attack, it would be found that the soldiers of this area, they would always be the one to drive out the enemy. And how amazing it is at the present moment, where the whole world has given in to the firepower of America and Britain, and Israel is the most strongest. And the whole land of Sham has given in, surrendered. But one small land, Gaza, stands out. They have no weapons, they have no might. They have spaceships coming over, bombers coming over. They have things which are unmanned, they have things which are manned. They have patrollers going into. Every day they are being bombed. But what has been given in those people that they are the defense for the world of Islam? That small group there is every time when the enemy attacks pushing them out. How did they get that? Hazrat Qari Sahib, that time when he wrote the book, said this is the land that will protect the entire world. And he wrote they will protect the world from what? He explained if the land of Gaza is destroyed and the enemy managed to take over it, then there will be nothing stopping them from the land of Aqsa. But as long as they cannot break through Gaza, although Gaza and Aqsa are not next to each other, they are far different, far away. As I told you, this is on Egypt side. This is in the land of Sham. People who will go to Masjid al-Aqsa will not even see Gaza. He explained, as long as they don't break through here, they will not get the seat of power. As long as they will not get the seat of power, they will not get complete rule in the world. The eye will not come on Makkah, Mukarramah, Medina, Munawwara, because that's not the land of rule. The eye will be on Masjid al-Aqsa and on the land of Gaza. How amazing Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then told his ummah something else. Where Dajjal told the people he met two places I will never go to. Makkah Mukarramah and Medina Munawwara. Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told his ummah two other places Dajjal will never manage to take over. Which Imam Ahmad has mentioned in his Musnad, which ulama have mentioned with sound sanads, meaning couple of ahadith, and each one is called Sahih. Two other places, the lands of Tajalli. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Aqsa, Dajjal will never manage to get. And he said, Mount Tur, Dajjal will never manage to get. Gaza. The power of that place, inshallah, as I understand, that the present enemies which are attacking Jewish enemies are nothing but what is mentioned in the hadith, Dajjal himself. The power of Dajjal, army of Dajjal. And how I understand the hadith to mean that inshallah till the ending you will find Gaza will carry on pushing them out. No matter what attacks they will make, somehow or the other will push them out. Forget that Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned in the time of Isa alayhi salam when he will come down. And the Ya'juj, Ma'juj will spread out in the world. And Nabi Isa alayhi salam will tell the Muslims, all of you will go to your forts, because we can't fight this force anymore. This force is too strong. Then Nabi Isa alayhi salam, where will he take the Muslims? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Isa alayhi salam will take the Muslims back to Mount Tur. Because a place to defend is the mountain of Mount Tur. What a tajalli of defense fell and what became Mount Tur. Till the time of Ya'juj, Ma'juj, it will remain a land of defense. Pushing out the enemy, pushing out the enemy. Hazrat Qari Sahib explained 3 tajalliyat. The bayan started at about 10 to, inshallah, I'll speak for another 10 minutes. Inshallah, we'll bring it to an end. Hazrat Qari Sahib spoke about 3 tajalliyat. After the 3 tajalliyat, because his eye was on wattini, wazzaytoon, waturi sinin, wa hadha al-balad al-amin. But obviously there is a 4th tajalli which is clear. For whichever reason he did not make mention, or maybe at the end of his book he did make mention, I have not yet reached there. But there is a 4th tajalli of Allah Pak that fell. Makkah Mukarramah Kaaba's tajalli was from the beginning of time till the ending of time. And because it was 40 years before Aqsa's tajalli, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said the status of the house of Allah is such that if you perform your salah there, Allah will give you the reward of 100,000 salahs. But when it came 40 years later to Masjid al-Aqsa, which is also getting tajalli, he explained if you perform your salah in Masjid al-Aqsa, Allah will give you 1,000 salah. Lot also, but it will never equal to Makkah Mukarramah. Because 40 years difference of tajalliyat. Then the tajalli of Gaza, which we explained, was only for a short time. It wasn't forever. But that short time had such an effect. But thereafter, one more tajalli was going to open in the world. And this tajalli was going to be a unique tajalli for the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How we understand this tajalli? We will see wherever Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned 2 masjids. The Kaaba, meaning he calls it Masjid al-Haram, and Aqsa, which is called Masjid al-Aqsa. Then always in between he will mention my masjid, Masjid of Medina Munawwara. He says if you perform salah in Makkah Mukarramah, the reward is so much. He says then if you perform salah in my masjid, and then if you perform salah in Aqsa. When he explained Dajjal will never go, he explained Makkah Mukarramah, he explained Aqsa, he explained Gaza, he said my masjid also Dajjal will never enter. When he explained if you're ever going to make a safar, a very lengthy safar, difficult safar, he said make a safar for salah to Makkah Mukarramah, to my masjid, to Masjid al-Aqsa. Wherever the 2 are mentioned, he put his masjid in between also. But the question comes that on which place of his masjid did Allah's tajalli start falling, and what type of tajalli? And according to that tajalli, what effects did it create on the people around? So when I went there, I was looking that where did the tajalli of Allah fall? In Masjid al-Nabawi. And my mind was most likely on what is known as the garden from the gardens of Jannah, where everyone is sighting. But when I went there, there was something else that was pulling me, which was not the garden, which we all know when we go to Masjid al-Nabawi. The garden is in the back of our mind, but what's in the front of our mind? To stand in front of the Rasul of Allah. So it came in my mind that the tajalli which fell on Makkah Mukarramah was a tajalli which fell on a thing. And it had to be so strong to hold it. It was the Hajar al-Aswad and the Rukn Yamani of the Jannah. The tajalli which fell on Masjid al-Aqsa was a rock which was sent from Jannah, on which the dome of the rock is built. Strong. But it came in my mind that the tajalli of Allah, if it is falling on the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then this heart is not a heart of Jannah. How is it that a man's heart can hold it? And while there, then Allah Ta'ala opened this up which I am now mentioning. And inshallah it will take about 10 minutes. Immediately the thought came to my mind that before Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was taken for Mi'raj, Jibreel alayhi salam and Mikail alayhi salam came down. And they cut open his chest. They took out his heart. They brought with them plates from Jannah filled with Iman and wisdom. They washed that heart. After that, the body of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam became different from our bodies. In that night, he was able to travel at unique speed from one land to another land. After that, he was able to travel where mortal people like us can never travel. He was taken into Jannah. He was taken into Jahannam, which man's eyes can never see. Jannah is too huge, too great. Jahannam is too scary. But his body managed. He was shown things which man will never be shown, and the heart was managing. Certain historians mention the heart was shown so powerful on that night, that a certain time came when Jibreel alayhi salam himself said, "O Allah's messenger, that now you will go forward ahead. This is my last point. That if I have to come forward also, I will be burnt with that tajalli which will fall." The power of that heart on that night became such When Nabi Musa alayhi salam was now blessed with kalam directly, without Jibreel alayhi salam, on that night we hear in the Quran and in the ahadith, that Allah Tabarak Ta'ala spoke directly to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. There was no Jibreel alayhi salam in between. That the tajalli of kalam which Musa alayhi salam got fell, the heart held it. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. Allah sent to His servant what He sent. What the effect it had in His ummah when He came down. Sahaba radiallahu anhu sat around Him. They became the best reciters of Quran in the world. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked Aisha radiallahu anha, you late, where are you coming from? She said, I was standing and listening to the Quran of someone. I was amazed, so beautiful. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he heard, he said, I thank Allah that in my ummah He has made people read Quran so beautifully. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam listened to Abu Musa Ash'ari radiallahu anhu's voice. He said, you have been given a flute from the flutes of Dawood alayhi salam. Your voice is so beautiful. It was what was coming out of his heart was affecting his Sahaba. He said, Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, read Quran. He said, how can I read Quran? It was revealed on you. He said, read. He said, I began reading. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam started crying. Sahaba radiallahu anhu's tongues were then affected with that waterfall which was now coming. The tajalli of kalam hit his heart and it was now going. And until today, the ummah, when they get beautiful tongues to recite Quran, then it is my understanding that it is coming from the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and spreading in his ummah. A tajalli of ilm was going to hit Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam because he became the greatest man of knowledge in the entire world. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, I was blessed with the knowledge of the beginning and the ending. And he explained it also in a manner of tajalli. Where he explained a certain time came where Allah asked me, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what are the angels discussing? What are the angels discussing? Where will he know what the angels are discussing? I said, Oh Allah, I do not know. He says, Allah tabarak ta'ala sneezes. And he mentioned in the hadith like his palm, which is known in the mind, in the zat of Allah tabarak ta'ala, however it is. But to give us an understanding of what it was, the palm of Allah, he says, was placed between my chest, on my bosom. And I felt a cool sensation going through my body, which opened up for me the knowledge of the heavens and the earth. And I understood everything which was happening. And thereafter Allah asked, what are the angels discussing? And I said, Oh Allah, they are discussing this. And they are discussing this. They are discussing what takes a man up. They are discussing what gives a man extra reward. What tajalli of knowledge that was. From the time when Iqra started, till the last verse of Quran, as it was coming, tajalliyat of knowledge was falling. Because of which every sahabi which sat around Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for many years I would think, that Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhu was a young boy. He did not hear so much from Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam like how he propagated to the ummah. He became the ocean of tafsir, but everything he never gets. People would ask him amazing questions and he would give the answers. And I used to wonder, where did he get that knowledge? And when it came that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam looked at him and he said, Oh Allah, bless him with knowledge. And I understood that was that knock from the heart of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam into Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhu. That as he grew up, he became the alim of the entire world. Which a person says, whichever question I saw someone mentioning to Abdullah bin Abbas, he gave the answer. He says his knowledge was such that he had a day set only for tafsir of Quran. And the next day only for hadith. And the next day only for the jihads of Sahaba. And the next day only for Arabic poetry. One day, and during that day, nothing else would be asked. And whatever they asked him, he gave the answer. I used to always wonder, where did he get that knowledge? How did Sahaba get the knowledge they could spread to the world? What was knowledge? Did they learn everything directly? Then I understood there was tajalli from the heart of knowledge to the heart. And any person today who is able to draw from that also, then our knowledge which comes, which our ustads always explain, knowledge is heart to heart. As it went from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's heart into the Sahaba, Sahaba took it to Tabi'in, Tabe Tabi'in. That knowledge, that tajalli of Allah's ilm, which came on his heart, started spreading in the world. But there are many people in the world present today also, Mubarak, that where one is you draw through that entire sanad. Up till today there are certain people who can hook onto the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they can draw knowledge from there which they haven't got from anyone. Ask many people who became mujaddids of the world, that where did you get this thought from? And he will say, I went to Medina Munawwara. I spent a couple of days there, I was in Muraqabah, thinking, making dua, and suddenly a thought came in my mind. And that thought then created revolution in the world. How did that thought come? There was a connection between heart to heart. Knowledge was being given. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who will come to my masjid for knowledge, Allah will give him this. So the tajalli of ilm came, the tajalli of awe came. Where Sahaba radiallahu anhu said, no matter how kind he was, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but the awe that was above him, it was something that would make us many times scared to approach him. Abdullah bin Amr bin As radiallahu anhu said, I accepted Islam. I was so close to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever there was a problem, he said, where's Abdullah bin Amr? Call him here. And he would ask me first before making a decision. When someone asked him to describe the face of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, I never had the courage to look at his face directly. There was too much of awe. And that awe also spread on his companions. It spread in such a manner like a man of Umar radiallahu anhu was created. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, me, my enemy will fear me a month's journey away. Nusirtu bi-ru'b. Umar radiallahu anhu came, the enemy feared him far and wide. Forget the enemy. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in his house. Umar radiallahu anhu was walking in. The women who were there, they all went away quickly. They all kept quiet. Umar radiallahu anhu said, I heard people talking. Who was talking? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, oh Umar, when you come, even the woman ran away. Umar radiallahu anhu got irritated. He said, Allah's Nabi is in front and you're talking. And you're worried of Umar. So one of the women said that, Umar, if you had the character of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you wouldn't have run. You were a very hard man. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam smiled. He said, oh Umar, you are such that your awe in the world is such that even if shaitan has to see you walking, he will walk on the other side of the road. The awe of Umar, the way it spreads from the heart of Rasulullah. Awe. And like that, the different things, haya, character. إِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Your character is most noble. That character spreads from his heart. And whoever can draw from that character today, Usman radiallahu anhu, he drew from that character, he became the most modest in the world. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, oh Usman, how can I not feel shy in front of you? Even the angels are shy in front of you. But it was that modesty which was spreading from him. And anyone who can draw onto his heart today will pull that akhlaq into their own bodies. So those are all tajalliyat, and it can carry on, carry on, carry on. But all those tajalliyat, Quran mentioned one tajalli in the most beautiful manner, which was going to be a continuous tajalli. Very powerful tajalli. Very, very powerful. So powerful that where Makkah Mukarramah beat Masjid Aqsa, because of 40 years difference. Because of 40 years, that got 100,000 sawab, this got 1,000 sawab. And it was told that Aqsa will never equal to Makkah Mukarramah. 40 years difference. But the tajalli that started on Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when did it start? It started after Nubuwah. From the beginning of creation, how many thousands and thousands of years had passed? When the tajalli started, what hope was there ever that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam would be able to rise? But when he mentioned, he always mentioned, after Makkah Mukarramah comes my masjid. To show you that it was able to take over Masjid Aqsa, what amount of tajalliyat must be falling on his Mubarak heart. At what speeds. Forget Masjid Aqsa, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, my dua to Allah was that the barakat that has settled on the land of Makkah Mukarramah, Medina Munawwara, must be given double that barakat. Double. Because of which you will go to Medina Munawwara, you will find a different environment in Medina. Which many people will say, the land of Medina I enjoy. So what was that tajalli which started with a force which will continue? Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, Allah and His angels have started a waterfall of what we call peace onto the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this waterfall is so strong, so strong. It has created peace in the entire world. Peace. And peace has everything in it which man wants for comfort in this world. Everything. Peace is just a word what we say. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. When Allah told the world, you all also send peace. When we send peace, we know none of us send anything. All of us say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Oh Allah, what we are going to send, you carry on that waterfall. When man says, Allahumma salli ala, what it is? Oh Allah, you carry on sending peace. When the angels are sending peace, what it means? They are making dua, oh Allah, carry on sending peace. That peace is one waterfall that is falling. With extreme force onto the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And with that peace falling, a connection is created to the hearts of every of his ummati. Explaining that connection, he explained it in unique ways. He was in sajda, he woke up, he said, I thanked Allah. Why I thanked Allah? Explaining an effect of a waterfall, how a splash will hit you. He says, Allah revealed to me that if any person in the world who is my ummah, wherever in the world he is, he says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Oh Allah, send salah upon your Nabi. The result of that one salah will hit, Allah will send 10 upon him. When I look at that hadith, I see a waterfall, as that salah falls on Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's heart. From the Mubarak heart of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I see a waterfall coming. 10 times that amount and falling on the person reciting durood. He said, as you say, Allahumma salli ala, once the angel is appointed to stand at my grave, he hears it immediately. Another one is appointed to bring it from where you are to me. When they come, they mention, oh Allah's messenger, so and so, the son of so and so has sent something to you. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they take his name in front of me, I reply his name and I make dua for him. Meaning the connection starts. What a connection. As it is falling there, every person in his ummah would get. For many years I never understood this. Hazrat Shaykh al-Hadith Maulana Muhammad Zakaria rahimahullah mentioned in his Fazail-e-A'mal, I cannot remember which place, but he mentioned that a Shaykh of recent times, in his time, recent times, Shaykh Abdul Aziz Dabbar, who Allah opened up many mysteries in front of him. One of his statements was, between the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and every believer, I can see something running, a connection, and things are being transferred very, very fast. And then Hazrat Shaykh says, and his own words were, that he said, oh, if you don't believe me, then if you want, I will stand up, I will cut the connection, and day you will be out of the fold of Islam. I could never understand that there can be something else, a connection. But in the light of these ahadith where that connection is mentioned, where a connection of as you send it comes back, 10 immediately fall on you, 10 ranks are lifted, 10 of your problems are removed. Ubay bin Ka'b radiallahu anh, showing the power of this tajalliyat and the effect it has. He said, oh Allah's messenger, I have taken out certain time for Allah's ibadah. From that time I have taken out, and the narration is very authentic. He says, from the time I have taken out, how much of my time must I use only to send salah upon you? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, oh Ubay, whatever you want. It's not going to benefit me, it's going to benefit you. So he said, oh Allah's messenger, I have decided 1/4 of my time. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, very good. But if you increase, it will be better for you. He said, 1/3 of my time. He said, very good. If you increase, he said, half my time. Very good. But if you increase, you're going to benefit. He ended off, he said, oh Allah's messenger, what if I use all my time only for salah upon you? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِذَن تُكْفَى هَمَّكْ وَتُغْفَرُ ذَنْبُكْ. If you ever make your condition like that, then whatever problem you are going through in your life, you're supposed to go through, everything will be solved. Because when peace is hitting with that waterfall, where are you going to go through difficulty? And all your sins will get wiped out. When man goes to the land of Makkah Mukarramah, the demand of tajalli of beauty and Allah's worship is that you must exert yourself. Because you are running for a beautiful Zat. There you will find in Makkah Mukarramah, you are tired. You are making tawaf of the house of Allah. You are just going back, namaz time. The crowds when they're going to the haram of Makkah Mukarramah, you'll always see with that. Very fast, meaning everyone is racing for something very great. But as soon as man enters Medina Munawwara, suddenly he finds peace. All that tiredness just disappears. When he comes in front of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's Mubarak house, and he stands there, he finds something settling in his heart which he can never explain. I understood this when the man was taking us now from Medina Munawwara to Jeddah. It was late at night, and he's telling me, as soon as I drop you off, I am going to go back now to Medina Munawwara. So I told him, so late, why don't you just sleep over? So he says, in my entire life in Medina Munawwara, I am a taxi driver, but not one night have I ever passed out of Medina Munawwara. So I was amazed. So I asked him why. He said, I can't fall asleep. He said, I cannot fall asleep in any other place. He said, as soon as I enter Medina Munawwara, a certain peace covers me. He says, that peace even in Makkah Mukarramah, I cannot find it. He says, in Makkah Mukarramah, in the haram around the house of Allah, I am happy. As soon as I come out of the haram, I am very troubled with the atmosphere. Movement. As soon as I come back to Medina Munawwara, all the worries go away. It is a land of peace. So inshallah, this has taken many minutes of your time. May Allah Ta'ala make it beneficial to all of us. My desire in this is, everyone is not going to remember everything what I have said. But one desire I have, as I enjoy my salah now in a different condition. And when I say Allahu Akbar, I understand that the jalliyat of Allah's beauty is falling. And between my heart and the house of Allah, a connection is created. And if I can draw from Allah's beauty, then what I can be getting around the house of Allah, I can also be pulling today towards me. And when I say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, then where normally I would just say it, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. But now when I say it, I understand the angel taking it, the other angel hearing it. I understand that the jalliyat falling on the heart of Rasulullah. And I understand it is now splashing upon me. And it gives me a different thrill. When I look at the land of Masjid al-Aqsa, I understand it is the land of power. And I understand why everyone's eyes are on it. And when I see Gaza, I am amazed at how those people are pushing out the enemy. And I am quite content, and may Allah Pak make it a reality that I don't think the enemy will ever manage to take over that place. And one of the best parts of this entire thing which I enjoyed, is that the next salah which I read after this, after reading all this and getting this thing in my mind, and then when I finished the salah, when I was now sitting, and as I was sitting, I was thinking that a connection between me and the house of Allah is established. And what things must be coming between me. And when in my tashahhud and the time came, As-salamu alayka ayyuhan nabi. And my mind immediately made that I think, Salam to you, O Nabi. And I understood, hey, another connection is being established. And when I said, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, kama sallayta ala Ibrahim, Allahumma barik ala Muhammad, then it was in my mind that at one moment I am sitting, and from two Mubarak lands, things are coming and hitting my heart. And I am the most fortunate person in the whole world. Because when Allah's tajalliyat is falling, where in my mind I ever thought I will be able to pull it towards me. So if someone can live his life with this, then I can guarantee you, you will enjoy your ibadah in a manner which you have never enjoyed till today. And you will start seeing things happening around you in the world which our eyes have never seen. May Allah Ta'ala fill the qabr of Hazrat Qari Muhammad Tayyib Sahib with great. Allah has given us some understanding of what the ulama of Deoband were made of. When our Akabir speak, the ulama of Deoband, what they were. Hazrat Qari Sahib, they explained that he was a man who used to explain the knowledge of Maulana Qasim Nanotwi rahimullah. Because they say Maulana Qasim Nanotwi's knowledge was too vast. And it was so difficult to understand that no one would read it. Maulana Ashraf Ali Tanwi rahimullah was a unique man of knowledge. So he wrote to his ustad, Maulana Muhammad Yaqub Nanotwi, that I tried to read Maulana Qasim Nanotwi's books. And I tried, I can't understand what's written in it. His ustad Maulana Muhammad Yaqub Nanotwi wrote to him, and he was the imam of knowledge. He says, I also tried to read it and understand, I also gave up. Maulana Ashraf Ali Tanwi rahimullah saying, now sitting understanding what is in this here, but we can't understand it. Many years later, Qari Muhammad Tayyib Sahib, the grandson of Maulana Qasim Nanotwi, was born. And the world called him the translator of his grandfather. Meaning what people couldn't understand, he started explaining in the world. And you can understand a translator if this is his knowledge. Then you can understand the man who started Darul Deoband, what Allah Pak had blessed him with. May Allah Ta'ala fill us also with such. May Allah Pak bless us that the tajalliyat that falls around us in the world, somehow or the other we manage to pull it towards us. May Allah Pak keep us always in His happiness. May Allah take us in His happiness. Wa akhiru da'wana.